Tyler Perry is so full of crap, talking about, oh, well, I did it to pay homage to my sisters, my aunts, my mothers, grandmothers. If that was the case, you did that 30 movies ago, talking about some representation of the reality. First of all, even if that's the case, you think a woman who's working 2 jobs to support her children, stressed, depressed, can't even afford to send them lunch money, eviction notice on their door, wants to come home, turn the TV on, and seeing a movie that projects her entire life? A terrible ending at that? Now, representation does matter, but you can also do that in a positive light. The only time you try to do a comedic relief movie is when you do a Medea movie that you're the lead in. Especially with Taraji coming on here saying that people don't pay her enough, but that you paid her enough, and she appreciates that. Of course she's gonna do a movie for you. The only one that's paying her. To minimize her entire catalog, stress and depressed movies is not even.
Tyler Perry often says he's all about helping Black women and giving back to the Black community, but his actions keep raising doubts. Over the years, many people have accused him of doing the opposite of what he preaches. What makes it worse is that it's usually white media platforms that end up calling him out, not the ones he claims to represent. No matter how much he talks about support and unity, new stories keep coming up that suggest otherwise. Actors like Monique Christian Keys and Brandon Jay have been vocal about their experiences with him. According to them, Tyler Perry has a habit of pushing his own ideas and doesn't like it when people disagree. If someone chooses not to go along with what he wants, he'll reportedly block their chances in the industry. This includes fellow Black entertainers, the very people he says he's trying to uplift. These stories paint a different picture of the man who's always seen as a powerful figure in Hollywood. The way he controls narratives and relationships behind the scenes is starting to make people question his true intentions.
Don't do what we ask you to do. We'll take your livelihood. So for 8 years, my family has suffered and my career has suffered because what I would not allow those entities to do was bully me. And because I didn't allow the bullying to happen.
What happened with Monique isn't the only time people say Tyler Perry made things harder for a Black woman. Lately, more claims are surfacing, this time involving Taraji P. Henson. After their recent movie Straw was released and started getting a wave of negative reviews, people began to point fingers at how Tyler might have treated her during and after the project. Since Taraji was the star of the film, it's concerning to think about what others involved, especially those without her status or voice, might have faced behind the scenes. If someone as respected and experienced as Taraji had problems working on that movie, it makes you wonder what kind of treatment the rest of the cast and crew received. Most of them probably don't have the platform or safety to speak up, even if something went wrong. So while Taraji's name gets mentioned in public conversations, it's likely there are others who stayed silent out of fear of losing work, or getting blacklisted. These kinds of situations keep raising serious questions about how fair Tyler Perry is when it comes to working with the very people he says he's supporting.
I can tell you this, I have made more Black millionaires, hear me when I say this, than any studio in this city combined, because I'm making footprints.
Tyler Perry knew exactly what he was doing when he gave that speech about creating more Black millionaires than any other studio in Los Angeles. It wasn't just a proud statement, it felt more like a distraction. Many people believe, he said, it because he knew negative stories about him were about to come out. By making it sound like he was being targeted for his success as a Black man, he likely hoped the public would defend him and ignore the criticism. Yes, Tyler has helped a lot of people. No one is denying that. He's given jobs to actors and crew members who may not have had other opportunities. But just because he's done some good doesn't mean he's beyond criticism. A lot of concerns are still valid, especially when it comes to how he writes and portrays Black women in his shows and movies. In many of his series like The Oval, Ruthless Sisters and Beauty and the Black women often face dramatic or painful situations. They're shown as struggling single moms, emotionally unstable professionals, or successful women dealing with deep trauma, addiction, or betrayal. Often, when a Black woman is with a successful Black man in these stories, that man ends up leaving her for someone who's white or biracial. Then, as a happy ending, she finds love with an average working-class man, as if that's her only option. And when it comes to comic relief, it's usually not given to Black actresses. Instead, Tyler puts himself in a wig and dress, turning serious topics into jokes. Many people feel that this repeated pattern doesn't reflect real Black women, but instead reinforces stereotypes and That's why the criticism won't just go away because of a well-timed speech.
Black women, and I'm not saying allegedly because the proof is in the pudding. It is becoming more evident that Tyler only sees black women as hardworking, struggling rape victims that of course one day are going to be rescued by a blue-collared black man. Managed to make billions of dollars off the backs of black female pain, and I'm sick of it.
Even after all the work Taraji P. Henson has done in Tyler Perry's films, the same story pattern keeps showing up. In The Family That Prays, she plays a successful black woman married to a construction worker, but then she ends up cheating with her wealthy white boss. In I Can Do Bad All by Myself, she's another strong, independent woman who falls in love with a broke immigrant man who doesn't even have a home. He's living in her basement. Then there's Acrimony, where her character goes through years of emotional pain and betrayal, only to die in the end with no real closure or peace. These roles don't seem to change much. While real life isn't always pretty, Tyler's stories keep putting black women in the same painful cycle, and it's getting harder to ignore. Now, in his newest film Straw, it happened again. Taraji gave everything to her role as Janiyah. Her acting was powerful and raw, and many believe she deserves an award for it. But once again, the story did her character no justice. Within the first 30 minutes, Janiyah loses her home, her job, her car, her child gets robbed, kills her boss, and ends up robbing a bank. It was one disaster after another, piled on so quickly that viewers couldn't even process what was happening. People weren't just upset by the speed of the chaos. They were tired of seeing the same formula repeated. Black women always seem to carry the weight of every problem in his films, while rarely being shown moments of peace, love, or joy without a struggle. Straw could have been something fresh, but it ended up feeling like just another Tyler Perry story filled with pain and predictability.
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over.
Taraji P. Henson has hinted that Tyler Perry's behavior off-camera isn't much better than the roles he writes for black women. She says that beyond the strange storylines, he's treated some entertainers poorly in real life too. The difference is, he hides it well behind a public image of being generous and supportive. That makes the situation more complicated, because people see the good he does and assume it tells the whole story. Taraji did acknowledge that when she starred in I Can Do Bad All by Myself, Tyler was the first to pay her $500,000 for a role. That was a big moment in her career. Years later, when she signed on for Straw, she said he paid her exactly what she asked for, something that doesn't always happen in Hollywood, especially for black women. For someone like Taraji, who recently opened up about how the industry continues to overlook her despite her long resume and talent, getting what she's worth is important. Still, even with fair pay, her experience seems to reflect deeper issues with how Tyler Perry runs things. The money might be right, but the treatment and representation remain under serious scrutiny.
Everything changes. So we literally run the entire episode for him, and he hates it. Does that mean I have to learn a whole new script? Yes, that's what it means. Mr. Perry on the spot starts rewriting the entire script, and he's feeding me the lines to say, and the director is kind of standing on the side like, you better do it, because if not, they will fire you.
You know, and if we have a disagreement about the way the scene should go, I'll be like, okay, let's try it my way, and we'll try it your way, and we'll see which one works. But mine always wins out.
Because he has the control of the editing, right?
That's exactly.
But getting paid well often comes with conditions. Now, Taraji is expected to follow whatever they ask of her, or she risks putting her career in danger. That can include doing extra work like unpaid press or promotions just to keep things smooth behind the scenes. Even with the lawsuit currently surrounding Tyler Perry, Taraji still has to support the film and appear beside him in public. It's a tough spot to be in. Her situation is starting to sound a lot like what Monique described years ago, being asked to do more than what was in the contract, without any extra pay, and then being pushed out or labeled difficult when she didn't go along with it. It's not just about money anymore. It's about control, pressure, and